Hello, my name is Sukh Daliwal, Member of Parliament for Newton North Delta. With us today we have Don Bell, Member of Parliament, North Vancouver, and official opposition critic for Pacific Gateway project. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Sukh.
And Don, you being the official opposition critic on Pacific Gateway project, would you be able to share your views with my constituents and Canadians how this Pacific Gateway project is important to British Columbians?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the Gateway is, in fact, it's a system of marine, road, rail, and air transportation that's going to facilitate the flow of goods both from and into Canada from Pacific Rim nations, trading partners that we have. It's good for the economy of Canada, and it's good for the economy of British Columbia. It means jobs, and it means the growth of our local economy. The advantage that we have in the position of both British Columbia and particularly Vancouver is that we're anywhere from 1.5 to 2 days faster closer than any of the other North American ports. That's Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, San Francisco, to the Asia markets. If you take the natural sea route from, let's say, Shanghai, we can get goods into either Prince Rupert or Vancouver up to 2 days faster. That means those goods can get to markets as far away as Chicago, the central United States, by rail from those two ports across Canada to not only other parts of Canada, but into the United States. So that gives us a very good advantage, and it's been a factor that's enabled us to grow our market very substantially. I think the figure is 300% it's gone up that we're expecting, the projection. In terms of 1998 to 2005, the container traffic has doubled. So we're expecting it could go up by 300% between now and, say, 2020. One of the factors that we have to look at is that the growth, in particular with China, which is presently our fourth largest exporting trading partner and our second largest bilateral in terms of tonnage, has grown dramatically. Just about anybody who has any product, it's been made in China, or some part of it's been made in China. Currently, our #1 trading partner is Japan. But China is growing substantially, and in fact, the estimates are that by 2020, China will be the dominant economy in the world, either rivaling or exceeding the United States in terms of overall economic trading value. Now, what the other aspect is that not only do we have products coming into China, but we have Canadian products going to China. For example, between that same 1995 and 2005 period, our exports to China more than doubled, up to $7.1 billion. So that's important for manufacturers in Canada and for exporters of raw goods, of natural goods. So China's exports or imports to Canada and imports to us grew by almost 500% during that same period, up to almost $30 billion. So it's very important for British Columbia that this work. It's a system, as I've mentioned, of not only just the ports, but of air and road. Now, the big problem is making sure that once the goods get here, we have to have the facilities in terms of the ports and the airports operating efficiently. But once those goods get here, they have to get away from those receiving areas, those terminals, the ports, across Canada by rail, by truck, very efficiently, or else we'll lose that advantage, and then the products will end up going to other ports other than ours, and that will cost us jobs in our economy.
Don, this was a Liberal initiative, and could you explain to my constituents how the Liberal vision and the approach was different than the present Conservative government, and how it's going to affect my constituents of Newton North Delta?
Well, certainly, and it was part of our Made in BC plan. The Pacific Gateway was to recognize that we were the hub of Canada, and in fact of North America as the first point of contact, and we wanted to be able to take advantage of that as the markets grow. And so when we were government under Prime Minister Martin and with Minister Emerson, who was still a minister, only on the other side now of the table, we initiated what we called the Asia-Pacific Gateway Initiative. And the intention was that we would, first of all, basically explore. We knew the market was there. We wanted to define it. We wanted to also define what was needed to deal with it in a balanced way. We need to be able to deal with that trade and those exports, but we also need to know that in doing so, there's going to be an impact on the communities that are adjacent to the ports and through which, for example, the rail lines would run to those ports and the airport. And so what we had suggested was two main differences between what the Conservative has done. One was the total amount of dollars that were committed. We had committed almost $600 million, $591 million over a 5-year period. The Conservatives during the election said they would match it. They didn't. They said they would give $591 million over 8 years. And the actual difference in the 5-year period was going to be something like about $300 million shy of what we had committed to do the job properly.
That's quite a bit.
Quite a bit. The second aspect that was really important was we had a major process of consultation. And that consultation was going to involve a Gateway Council that would include, among other things, the shippers and the people who are directly involved, but it would also include the municipalities. And our concern was, we know there are areas like in your riding, Burns Bog, we know there are groups like the Sunbury Neighborhood Association who are interested and concerned about the impact on their neighborhood. And the idea was to provide the municipalities with a voice on that Gateway Council so that they could indicate what the negative effects or what the potential negative effects would be, and then ways that could be taken to respond to those concerns that would still enable the Gateway to be successful, but also minimize the negative impact on the communities that it had to go through.
Did you agree then with my constituents of Sunbury Neighborhood Association and Burns Bog that there should be a balanced approach? On one side, we should have economy moving, but on the other hand, the quality of life, the heritage, and the environment must be protected.
Absolutely. The two go hand in hand. You have to have the economic success, but you also have to recognize that people live in British Columbia and they live in the communities that surround the ports and the airports for a reason. It's because they like the quality of life and they want that protected. And our goal would have provided a balance between those two, provided an opportunity for adequate input and consultation, and so that the final decisions that would be made with that in mind. And I might add that on the South Perimeter Road, for example, is one. Our money initially was for the environmental impact, because we wanted to know. We hadn't committed to building it. We knew it was important, and it's very important to separate the truck and the rail traffic from the commuter traffic and to minimize the impacts. But what we wanted to know was that, in fact, the environmental concerns were going to be adequately addressed.
Thank you, Don, and thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with my constituents of Newton North Delta. It was a pleasure having you here.
Well, Sukh, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'd just like to say I really appreciate the job you do representing not only your riding, but British Columbia in the House of Commons, and it's nice to work with a colleague like you. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.